Hey guys. So in the book of Matthew, Jesus tells this story of a farmer who goes out and sows these seeds. He sows seeds of wheat. And then when he goes to bed at night, an enemy comes and sows all of these weeds among what he's already planted. So as the sprouts of wheat start to come up, all of these weeds start to come up all around it. And his servants go to him and they're like, "Master, didn't you sow good seeds? Do you want us to go up and pull all these weeds out?" And he says, "No, an enemy has done this. Wait until the harvest. Then we will separate the wheat from the weeds, and we will go ahead and burn the weeds, and we will go ahead and take the harvest into the barns." Kind of a weird story without any explanation. And I think this story has a lot to teach us in our time now. See, what this story is actually about is he's talking about God has come and he's sown all of these good things. He's sown all of this amazing potential into us as people. He's put all of these good things into the world. And an enemy has come and sown all of these seeds of dissent, all of these bad ideas, all of these terrible, terrible things. And what we want to do is we want to go up and tear out all of these negative things. We want to go ahead and these bad ideas that people have, we want to go rip them out right at the source, nip it in the bud, get it done fast. But what we need to understand is that if we just go and tear out these negative things in people, these bad ideas, these bad agendas, these seemingly terrible things, and we want to just go recklessly tear them out, we can actually tear out the good thing that is growing. See, if you go pull out a weed right next to a stalk of wheat, you might actually tear out the wheat. You might actually tear out the good growth, trying to dig at the bad. And we are in a world right now that is seemingly never been more divided. And you see venom on both sides. And we all have our agenda. We all have our mindset of what's good and bad, what's true and just, what's moral. And our mindset is we need to go after the negative things. We need to go after these people that see things the way we don't see them. And we need to tear out these bad things. But what we don't understand is if we just go and we run at these things with the same venom, with the same ferocity that other people do, we might actually remove and take away the good growth that God is trying to produce in them. Why? We want to see good things happen in the world. We want to see good things happen. We want the negative to be taken out right at the root, right at the source. But God has put good seeds in everyone. And if we just run at people, trying to take out the negative, trying to take out the things we disagree with, even if it's so obvious to us, we might destroy the good growth because we don't have the perspective we need to see what's really going on there. Years ago, when I was a kid, my parents would go to work and I would stay with my grandparents while my parents were at work. And my grandma always had these flower gardens. And one day she asked me to come out and help her pull up the weeds. And so I started looking and she's like, "These are weeds." She pointed to weeds. And all I saw was these green leafy plants. And so I started pulling them out. But I didn't really understand what the weeds were, so I just started pulling out everything that was green. And she's like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 wait, you're pulling out the good growth. You're pulling out flowers." All I saw was this leafy green plants that seemed to look like weeds. I didn't understand. We don't understand. We don't have the full perspective. We're not true farmers. We're not true gardeners in the way that God is. We don't have the perspective to truly see what's going on right underneath the surface. And what we see is only negative, only bad. And we go and try and rip it out at the source because of our limited perspective. We might tear out the good growth that God is trying to produce in other people. So what we need to do is trust that God knows what he's doing, that God has his hand on these people, even if we're looking at them and so clearly to us, it's wrong, it's negative, it's hurtful. And we need to trust that God knows what he's doing and that God is doing a good work there. And trust that God has the ability to sort it out. We don't have to take responsibility for it. What we're meant to do is what the servants of a farmer would do. You nurture the good growth. You nurture what's healthy. You help it become stronger. You help it reproduce other good things. And trust that then God will sort out the rest at the end. You know, it also says in the scriptures that it's the goodness of God that draws men to repentance. It's the goodness of God. It's not us coming through and saying, this is bad, this is wrong, this is negative. It's us showing the goodness and love and the fruit of the Spirit to other people, showing them that we actually really do have a good God. And that will in turn help encourage and increase the good growth that God is doing in people. We need to trust that God knows what he's doing, and then he can sort out the rest. I'm not saying that there's not things in this world that we shouldn't stand up for, that we shouldn't make our voices heard. We definitely should. But I think right now, we see everything as a caliber that we need to address it now. We need to tear it out now. Everything's not at that caliber. Everything's not at that level of intensity. We need to trust that God knows what he's doing, and he can sort out what's good and what's bad. Our job is to go and encourage the good growth. Our job is to encourage the love of God in people's lives so that he can produce something that we can't even see yet.